Family Life Delegate Conference. You're welcome to the African Life Delegate Conference 2020. I am Dima Wobi, the Director of Studies at the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, and we're excited to be here with you. Since 1994, the United Nations has mapped out this day, May the 15th, to be a day that will celebrate families. It is a day that has been set aside to create awareness of the importance of family systems to life generally. We understand that the family is the production center of the society, and so how can families help to promote first their well-being and their peace, and then radiate it to the world? That is why a day like this has been set aside. And at the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, we have taken it upon ourselves over how many years to take charge of the celebration of this day in Africa. So I welcome you to today's deliberations. I welcome you from everywhere around the world, from everywhere across Africa and the globe completely, to this year's African Life Delegate Conference. It is a year that is going to be a difference, because this year we're going to be celebrating the International Day of the Family with the unprecedented uncertainties that COVID-19 has brought our way. You know, with COVID-19, it actually exposed a lot of families to the inefficiencies of their systems. Now, as family members, we are forced to be home with our family members. We are forced to be there. And then we're beginning to see how has our families been working before now, how effective are the systems that we have created. Also, statistics is showing that a lot of domestic violence has increased as a result of the lockdown. Not only spousal violence, but also violence to the children from their caregivers. So how can we navigate those challenges? The future of the families is at stake. And this year we're looking at, is it a threat or an opportunity? With the new normal world that COVID-19 has introduced us to, what are the strategies? What are the systems? What are the things we can intentionally do in our homes, first to promote our well-being and that of our family members? And that is why we are here. And once again, on behalf of the conveners of this year's conference, the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, I welcome you to yet another transformative experience. So right now, we'll take a pause and take the national anthem.
Nigeria's call, obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Oh God of creation,
Thank you very much for that. And indeed, what we all are striving to do is to build a nation where justice and peace shall reign. What are you beginning to notice about your family, about the families of those around you, and about the families of most of society, even with the situation of the COVID-19? Lots of things have been predicted that might happen following the new normal world that we will be returning to after the pandemic is over. This is going to form most of what we'll be discussing today. And so if you're here, don't go anywhere because you'll get tips on how to promote your family from this conference. If you have comments and questions, please drop it in the chat box. And remember to tweet and to share all your learning from here with the hashtag African Family Life. We now invite the chairman of the organizing committee of this year's African Family Life Delegate Conference, Dr. Ibrahim Diko, for his opening remarks. Dr. Ibrahim Diko, if it's not, is he available? Okay, so we'll just go ahead while we're waiting. Okay, so reports reaching me is that we have the founder of the Institute of Family Engineering and Development on standby to share some thoughts about this year's conference. Join me to welcome the premier trainer of the Family Systems Engineering course and the founder of the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, Praise for Wowe, to give us his opening speech. And these are some of the changes and the challenges we would face. We're having some difficulty hearing Praise for Wowe, and so we'll just give him some time to work on that. But hey, that is how life is, and that is how life is going to be for our families in the future. A lot of disruptions, a lot of interruptions, a lot of changes to the perfect plan that we have for our families. Like I said earlier, some statistics is showing that with post-COVID, there might be some loss of jobs, and so it might affect the income of families, maybe reduction in income, or even some families may lose their income. How are you preparing your family for this future? How are you preparing your family for the changes that the post-COVID world is going to present us with? Okay. Right now, we're moving on with the conference, and I just want you to think, Peter Drucker once said that to predict the future, to create your future, to predict the future, you have to create it. To predict the future, you have to create it. And this is what the resources you'll be getting from here will help you do. You will be able to, because of the disruptions of COVID, a lot of people are experiencing anxiety, worry, fear. What will the world hold? How will my family survive? That is the new future. And we're saying, is it a threat or an opportunity? And we have a futurist in our midst. Okay. So please drop your questions, your comments, and remember, use the hashtag African Family Life. To share with us whatever is coming up for you. And so we'll continue our discussion. You know, a family is like a garden. And when you consider a family as a garden, what are the things that makes for a garden beautiful? Is a garden just planted and it continues to bloom that way? No, you have to nurture the garden. You have to water it. You have to be careful about the enemies of your garden that will come out as weeds and want to, you know, choke the good work you've done with the plants. You have to prune your garden. You have to tend to your garden. And that is how it is with the families. This lockdown has also shown to us families who have not been intentional about gardening, families who have not been intentional about pruning themselves, and families who have not been intentional about doing the things that will promote their well-being. And so on today's conference, and in celebration of the International Day of Families, we're calling your consciousness to the fact that your family is going to be as blossoming, as wonderful, as productive, as fine as you cultivate and you intentionally set up the systems that will make your family stand out. So considering systems, what are some of the systems that our families need to promote our well-being, give ourselves peace, and give peace to the world? In the Family Systems Engineering Certification Program, we talk about the different systems that the family needs. Your family needs a governance system, it needs a domestic management system, it needs a family economy system, you need a communication system, you need an entertainment and recreation system, you need all of these systems to intentionally create strategies that will position your family for the future. And so I understand that our keynote speaker is here. And the thing that can promote our families for this future is to have a thinking family, starting from the father to the mother and to the children. Because in days to come, only the thinkers can withstand the uncertainties. Only the thinkers can come out as champions in spite of the changes that our world is facing. And I'm honored to be invited. Someone I consider a futurist, someone I consider a thinker, someone I consider the one who has the roadmap to what we can do to position our families and our world for better. And that is no other person but PK himself, Kunle Shoriyo. He will be giving us the keynote address, and I welcome him to this year's conference. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Can you hear me clearly? I just want to be clear that I'm heard. You know?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, sir.
Great, great. Thank you very much. I really celebrate this platform and for inviting me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome, sir.
Am I on? Should I go ahead?
Yes, the floor is yours, sir.
Great. I think the first thing I should do is to really appreciate the gentleman and the visionary behind this family, which is Praise for Wowe. I mean, Praise has been so strong and so consistent for years. The goal is simple. You know, how do we change the thinking of our people and supply the type of clarity that can broaden their perspective and empower them with the right options, you know, that can make, you know, decisions simpler and help people make better choices as far as the family terrain is concerned. I mean, that is priceless. I mean, who designed such a business model? I mean, people want to sell bread, people want to make shoes, people want to do, you know, all of the things that they call business. But when you design your business and your commitment around demonstrable human problems, you know, you pretty much, you know, set yourself apart and define a higher code of strength and quality. And I think that is what Prince Mowe represents. So I just want to thank him for erecting this platform and for staying solid around this platform. We all know that the blessing of the nation is the blessing of the family. You know, the cracks in the walls of the family system automatically define cracks in society and the nation. Nations are only strong as the family system is. So thank you, Praise for Mowe, for doing this. You've done it so repeatedly for years. You've been strong through the family system, family engineering system, which I'm going to, family system engineering, which I'm going to encourage everyone listening to us today to take very seriously and to consider bringing themselves into that community, because it's so promising and delivers a lot of transformation. Having said that, I must also congratulate the entire team that has worked with him all those years. Dina herself and so many other amazing people who stood solid behind the vision and has been so strong in the work. Thank you all for what you do. These are not efforts that bring billions of dollars, but they bring quality in legacy. And the future will not forget that we made this kind of input. So we keep digging in, we keep throwing ourselves in, and God bless you all. I have about a few minutes to say what I want to say, as I was given the privilege to do the keynote. I know a lot of powerful, amazing, strong speakers are coming after now to offer more clarity in the days that we have, you know, all through the conference. So I'm just blessed to be taking this off, right? The future of family is the key conversation that I'm supposed to have, right? And I'm here in the United States, where, you know, I'm broadcasting from. And there's no better society to be in at this time to observe decisions, how people are using freedom, how they are resisting rules and protocols, even in the face of death, even in the face of diseases. It's instructive that, you know, how much people don't care, even if they have to pay the ultimate price for their freedom. People just want to go out there, you know, with all of the noise. I think the United States has been the epicenter of the coronavirus for quite a while now, for several weeks now. And you won't believe that, you know, in as much as a lot of people have kept the commitment to social distance and respond to the lockdown, you know, quite a number of people have been, resisting, you know, all of that, and have refused to do anything. And they've gone out and they just move around, do whatever they have to do if they have to do it. You know, a lady even was arrested for opening a restaurant, and, you know, she fought, she was adamant, and she was locked up for 7 days. I think by the 4th day or so, you know, a lot of pressure from everywhere, they released her, you know, and she opened a restaurant. You know, you see a mix of how we perceive life and the kind of premium that we place, you know, on our, clarity, and, it's instructive. So when I look at how the future is going to play out, I see a lot, right? And I guess I will pitch my encouragement today around the reality of Gen Z. The fact that if we play a 30-year game, and I've said this for years, this is not something I began to say because of coronavirus. Anyone who has followed my idea and my ideology in the last 5 years will understand that these are not new stuff. that I've been talking about. The truth that every 500 years, you see, there's no bigger concept in the world today than what I'm about to say. Every 500 years, something unprecedented, something unimaginable, something paradigm shifting, life transforming, hits the church, right? It starts with the church. It hits the church of Jesus Christ globally. And that hit impacts on theology. It impacts on the operations of the church, as it were, and then it goes on to society, right? To pretty much shape culture, right? Every 500 years, right? The last one was the Martin Luther Reformation, which essentially happened in 1517. 1517 was 500 years of the Martin Luther Reformation. And you understand that that movement created democracy as we know it. I mean, all over Europe, and then went around the world. That was the beginning of democracy, pretty much. And then that same movement created free inquiry as we know it. Created free inquiry. These are not my views. You could check it online. Created free inquiries as we know it. That movement created small or little governments as we know it. Little governments as we know it began. I mean, it pretty much, transformed society, right? Well, the news is that 2017 was 500 years since the Martin Luther Reformation. 2017. And another life began for the church and ultimately or consequently for society since 2017, right? And if you go and observe from country to country, the reaction of society and the reaction of churches, you will see there's so much attack on theology, so much attack coming from everywhere. All of the cohesion on tithing in the church, for example, on creative generosity with church leaders, and a lot of stuff happening globally. That is just the beginning, COVID is now forcing all of us to see what has been going on. And it's God's mercy, despite the lethality of COVID, it's God's mercy that the system has been slowed down so that a lot of people who are out of the loop can catch up, right? The loop of technology, the loop of all that is going on in the world without the permission of anybody, right? And part of that now is the arrival of Generation Z, otherwise called Gen Zers, right? That group is the most formidable demographic that we need to focus on. And they are the change-making demographic, right? I'm going to try to summarize real quick some of the thoughts around Gen Z. Now, every research out there, all management thinkers, all sociologists, and all the research in the world have agreed on one thing, that Gen Zers are by far a more critical generation than millennials as far as markets are concerned, as far as the workforce is concerned, as far as culture shaping is concerned. For a long time we were focused on millennials and not factoring millennials into your market penetration, for example, into your market segmentation or product development. For example, not factoring them and their thinking and their behavior and their protocols that define their profile, not factoring them in. You can even lose your family if you don't understand the way they think. Well, Gen Zers, millennials are pretty much matured now. They've come into decision making and they've come into adult life, full-blown adult life. The oldest Gen Z today is 23 years old. The oldest Gen Z is 23 years old. And that gentleman or that lady in 30 years' time will still be 53. In 30 years' time will still be 53. That is the oldest Gen Z. So I don't care what you do, business, whatever, If you are not thinking about Gen Z now, you are probably still a blast from the past. And you have not woken up to the reality before you. So onto Gen Z, we must now turn. That does not mean we kill every other generation. It just speaks to you how culture will be shaped and on whose back, the new ideas of the world will be driven. Well, it's Gen Z. And Gen Z is pretty much, let's say, from age 0 to 23 today. They have some assumptions and that defines, who they are. Essentially, they crave enterprise. 60% of Gen Z want to be in business than to work for anybody. That is creative rebellion. 60%, Gen Z embrace freedom. There's a level of their power to say no is high. Tendency for propensity for no is high than saying yes. They demand accountability and transparency. They like to think about a cause. They demand for truth. They'll question anything. So when you look at them, you want to pretty much study them to then understand how the future will play out. And what I've said to people is that the concept of new is terribly relative. There's no such thing as new. New is old happening to new people. So there's no way to understand the future except we take control of yesterday and sit it in the now. Then the future will emerge. The future is not practical. When we have to sit about to think about the future, it's okay. When we have to meditate about the future, it's okay, because all of that are here in my heart and here in my head. But in practical terms, none of us will ever arrive in the future. So there's no way to deal with the future and forget where we are today or forget where we have been yesterday. The future is not practical. The future is not true. In fact, what I've said for years is that there is no such thing as a future. A future is nothing but an arrangement by God to keep curiosity alive, to keep hope meaningful, to keep us driven and optimistic and enthusiastic. In practical terms, nobody will ever arrive in the future. When we are in the morning, it's pretty much what I can call a kinetic experience. It's real. It's a reality. When you are in the morning, you can feel the morning. You can touch the morning. You know you are in the morning. When you are in the afternoon, you say good afternoon because you are in the afternoon. You feel it, you touch it. When you say good night, you can see the darkness. You know you are in the night. Goodbye, you know you are living. Good life, you know you are breathing. Anything, once you say those things, you are right in the middle of that experience, giving, I'm feeling it, seeing it, touching it, and sharing it with other people, right? So you will never have the misfortune of saying, good future, oh, good future, oh, we are in the future. You will never have that blessing of saying so. You will never be in the future enough to receive it in a moment, experience it in a moment, and acknowledge that you are in it. Today was once a future. Yesterday was once a future. Every time you arrive in the future, you are going to call it today. Today is all you've got. Yesterday is an experience. Tomorrow is nothing but an idea. Today is our critical platform of exchange. And so let us look at the future with what we do now, how we think now, and now we accept responsibility now. So part of the thinking for the next, I think I still have about 10 minutes more. Am I correct? Gina?
Yes,
Dima?
sir.
I still have about 10 minutes more, right? Great. So
you have
how
about
do
20 minutes, sir.
About 20 minutes. Okay, perfect. All right. So thank you very much. So part of that then is for us to say, okay, so how do we navigate this? What are the things we should be aware of? I'll say numbers. I'll say let's start with numbers, right? Numbers is everything. Even the great book, the Bible says, teach us to number our days. Why? So that we can apply our hearts to wisdom. So we have to learn the weight and the responsibility, even the burden of the reality of numbers, right? Part of that is that in 30 years' time, we're going to have a new world. In 30 years' time, we're not just going to have the full-blown adult expression of genders. We are actually going to have a completely new life. And let me explain that. So if you add 30 years to everybody watching me right now, just do the maths. take a pen and a paper, add 30 years to your age. If you are 50, you'll be 80, right? If you are 60, you'll be 90. You'll be 90. If you are 55, you'll be 85, right? If you are 49, you'll be 79. If you are 70, you'll be 100, right? So think about that. That tells you that anybody that is 50 and above now will either be dead in 30 years' time or will be at the departure lounge of life, ready to take the flight. That's instructive. So I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but whoever has lived to 70 years and above and is still trusting God for life has probably lost touch with his own existence and has terribly discounted his own meaning. By the time you are 70, a lot of your life should be rounded up. You should be done. You should have fought the good fight. Your legacy should be clear. The content of your existence should be clear and meaningful enough in an observable format that the world can see, rate, and reward at 70. I mean, come on. So life doesn't begin at 70. Life remains meaningful at 70, but is ending at 70. That is the reality. And there is no mathematics, there's no formula that can prove to anyone that you will live beyond 70. 70 is a fair age. There's even no formula that proves that you will live till tomorrow. So 70 is a fair age to say I should be rounding up. Well, in 30 years' time, think of all the politicians that you know in the world today. Add 30 years to their age, they will all be gone. Isn't that amazing? Donald Trump will be gone. Hillary Clinton will be gone. Bill Clinton will be gone. Barack Obama, if he's not gone, it will be at the departure lounge of life, because I think it will be in his late 80s. That I think so, if I'm correct, or even early 90s. I think I'm not even sure of his age. Think about all the big personalities in the world. The Prime Minister in Britain will be gone. The leaders in Nigeria. Think about the politicians. General Buhari will be gone. Tinubu will have been gone. Chiku will have gone. Think about them. They will have all gone. It's not a choice that they have. It's just the reality of that exchange. It's just the fact of the human existence. Part of that also is that whether we like it or not, there is always a balancer in life. But before then, pause that thought and come back to anyone that is 5 years old today. They'll be 35. Those who are 10 will be 40. Those who are 20 will be 50. Those who are 25 will be 55. So, but in 30 years' time, the kids in your house, your 5-year-old, your 10-year-old, your young teenager, your young adolescent, your young 20-year-old will be the ones in charge. That's instructive. That means that there's a revolution that happens pretty much, every 30 years, pretty much, that cleanses the system and introduces new voices and new capacity into the system. So whether we like it or not, our children will be in charge. The question should be, will they be prepared? Will they be ready? Those who are in charge of the system across the world today were yesterday's kids, and what they do today is the proof of the quality of their performance. Every human being in the world will only perform to installed capacity. Every human being in the world can only perform to installed capacity. So it is what they are going to do, the choices they will make, how they make it, how they think, will all be dependent on the capacity available to them. I've said also for years that it is the person that is well that can donate blood. I mean, you can't offer your blood in any hospital for free if you want to donate everything, except you are first of all well. If you are not well, they're not going to take that blood. Well, that wellness is capacity. So how are today's kids prepared for tomorrow? You must understand that they are coming into a space of technology, because within this decade, and the next 30 years that I'm also describing, we're going to speak less and less of developing, underdeveloping, and developed nations. We're going to speak more about smarter, and smartest countries. We're going to speak less about words like democracy. It will still be there, but to be a secondary idea. The primary idea of exchange, 30 years and beyond it, will be what I call technocracy, which essentially is a system driven by technology and managed by technologists. So there must be a minimum level of capacity in everyone that will sit on any idea, visionaries and idea shepherds anywhere, authority figures, leaders, CEOs, presidents, public holders, public office holders, fathers and mothers, are not just going to be people who have gone to school. There will also be people who have gone to school, who are spiritually, emotionally intelligent, but who are also technologically aware to be able to deal with the options that is available. Why millennials and the generations before them had to come to this world to learn the instruments and the tools of human exchange available, Gen Zers are born with it. So you see the 2-year-old kid today can pretty much take your phone and do stuff with your phone that you don't even know your phone can do. You see, there's something in their DNA from heaven. It is, they brought it in. What I call BIL, brought in to live. They brought in. God, seeing their times, has loaded today's kids, Gen Zers, with the capacity to align, understand, interpret technology. We've not seen the impact of artificial intelligence compared to what we're going to be seeing, 30 years down the line, right? It's incredible. I believe we're going to see driverless cars in Africa even this year. In this decade. Technology is going to embrace us in ways unimaginable, right? So how do we position our kids? If you think about technology, that will only be one. Then you have to think about immigration. What is the impact on immigration on families, down the line? Parents cannot be clueless like before. We just can't, give back to kids and hope that we are doing the right things. Hope will not be enough. You need to know that you are doing the right things. Because part of what is concluded globally also is that by age 18, every child is supposed to be ready for any level of responsibility. I've even reduced it to 15 now because of the collapse and the shrinking of time that technology brings. So if your child is not ready to face society, parents tell me, my kid cannot get married, she's just too young. How old is she? She's 18, she cannot start a business. I don't want her to do this now. I don't want her to go to the corporate world now or to set up an idea now, and we say all of this crap, and when we say them, I hear them when they say their children are not ready. I hear what they mean. But what they are not saying is that they have also failed in their responsibility to get the child ready for society by age 18. They have failed because by the standard of the social justice system, if an 18-year-old commits a crime that an 18-year-old commits, 18 and 80, when an 18-year-old and an 80-year-old commit the same crime, they are going to the same jail. Nobody's going to say, oh, she's just 18. Take her to a bedroom or a suite to go and enjoy it till she's ready. No, because by the social justice system, the responsibility of bearing pain and enjoying bliss are equal. Once you are 18 and above, they are equal. So an 18-year-old can be a billionaire and a 69-year-old can be a security guard, right? It doesn't matter. It's not about when you arrive here. It's about what you begin to do and the choices you make since you arrive. So that is essentially what it is about. So your kid, should be ready for any level of responsibility. He should be ready to marry when he's 18. She should be ready to marry. She should be ready to do business. She should be ready to do anything. Boys are not going to see your girl and say, oh, don't toast her yet. Don't talk to her yet. Don't make any advances to her yet. Why? Her mommy said she's not ready. Her daddy said she's not ready. There's nothing like that. Life is not going to pause, evil is not going to pause and say, oh, don't throw any evil at that girl. Why? Oh, you know, her daddy said yesterday that she's not ready. When her daddy says she's ready, then we throw life at her. No, life is going to happen to your daughter. Life is going to happen to your son. What you want to do is to accept that what is coming will come. It is who you are and how prepared you are that will make the difference. And part of the difference that will hit the world again, apart from the force of technology and the freedom that your kids are going to. So your kids are going to ask you questions. I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't even have 24-hour TV. As at 1980 something there, even as 1990, 1998, 1999, as at 1990, I'm sure. As I'm sure we didn't have 24-hour TV. We have to wait till some 4 or 5 o'clock before you could see TV. Children were forced to write homework. I've read things like, you know, kids today don't have any values. They don't have any values. If we keep saying that, it was worse. We said it louder with millennials. We're going to say worse with Gen Z, because it's not that our values are eroded. No, it's that options have been expanded. So kids today now have a lot of options. I mean, in 1984 or 1986, 1988, if I want to see pornography, I'm going to work very hard to see pornography. The TV in the house is just one, and it's in the sitting room facing the room of my dad. That's how the architecture of homes were in Lagos way back. There's only one TV. It's even a house. They lock it with key. You know, you could enter the TV, keep things in the TV. You could keep checkbooks in the TV and lock it and open it, right? It was a big box, right? And then where do you get a VHS recorder? Your dad and your mom must be middle-class parents to be able to have a video recorder in the house. Otherwise, you are going to have to depend on the video club. Then how do you walk to the video club to go and hire, to go and pay for a TV for a VHS video recorder? Pornography. They are going to hide it because parents, elders will see you on the way. You will greet people, you will greet your friends. You have to hide it to bring it to the house. And when you finally bring the video you have taken from the video club into your house, you are paying for it. You are a young person, you are a student. Where do you get money from? That's why business video clubs died all across Nigeria. Why? Because all across Lagos, all across Africa. Why did they die? Because students were the one hiring the movies and they couldn't pay. They couldn't pay for it. So then you bring it into your house. You need to now look for privacy and tranquility in the house. When will everybody go out? There's only one TV. I mean, today there's TV in every room. There's on the wall, almost in every kitchen, in the toilets. There's TV everywhere. But way back, there's only one TV. When will everybody be out for you to be able to watch your porn? It was tough. Just to be silly for 1 hour. You're going to work hard and planning for almost 2 months. So the journey to foolishness was tough. It wasn't easy to express nuisance, when we were growing up. But now, pornography is on your phone. It's just a button. Boom. Over 1 million free porn will appear to you. So what has happened to our young people is the invasion of options. They now have options at an unimaginable level. So they still have the same values. We are not doing badly with our teachings, except that the curriculum of that teaching is expired because we were preparing them. Those teachings that we received from our parents prepared us from a monoculture world, right? But today, curriculum must prepare kids for a multicultural world, right? There's so much diversity of thoughts, of ideology, of philosophy, of principles, of concepts, and it's all happening on one spot, on a phone, on one spot. Everything is here. The whole world is here right now. I mean, look at this conference. We are here. People are all over the world, London, UK, Kenya, Mombasa, Johannesburg, and we are having this. Isn't that amazing? That is where the world is now. So how do kids manage to say no and to insist on values and to hold their own out there in society in the midst of all of that invention? As I close, I have to focus again on immigration. There's also a phenomenon that has happened in most parts of Africa and for most third world environments in the last 15 years that has been happening. What is that? If you pick 10 middle-class families anywhere in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, if you pick 10 middle-class families anywhere in Nigeria, right, 8 of them gave birth abroad. 8. If you pick 10, 8 gave birth abroad. 2 did not give back abroad only because they couldn't afford it, or maybe for whatever reason they didn't just get the visa, or something happened, but 8 out of 10, and I'm being conservative, it's almost 10-10, you know. I mean, that could afford it, gave back abroad, and then have acquired is so strong that now the Americans have understood that and they had to stop it. And to do that in Canada is still ongoing, but you have to qualify at a level, not just because you carry a big tummy. So what has happened is, before now, when people travel abroad, you know, they go abroad and they sit there and they don't come back home. They hibernate for another 8 years before you begin to see them at home, maybe once every 3 years. That is relocation. There's another word, penetration, because people have asked somebody like me, what are you doing in Dallas? What are you doing in America? Why now? I said, no, I did not relocate. Facebook is in Nigeria. Microsoft is in Nigeria. Have they relocated? No, I'm not here to relocate. I'm not driving a relocation agenda as I am driving a penetration agenda. You need to understand the idea of penetration. So I'm saying to you that those who relocate compromise their dignity and their honor. They live at times as illegal immigrants, not capable of mixing into mainstream society in their host countries. Then they hibernate in a corner, keep up a type of job, earn more than they used to earn in all their dignity back home in Africa, be consoled about that, but take a lesser human expression in another country. That is those who relocate, and they don't come back. But you see, when these kids, when these middle-class children give birth in America, they come back home. They bring their kids back home with an American passport. That's instructive. They don't just stay in America. You see, a lot of times before, when people relocate like that, they disappear for a long time, at times 20 years, 25 years. By the time they are coming back, they have lost connection back home. They've lost touch with reality. Some of them will even come back after 40 years to do business. They dupe them, they cheat them, they cannot control the streets. They lose their street capital. They lose their emotional connections within the system. And so they cannot fit in. They get hit badly, quickly, they lose all their money, they dust their passport and run back. You see, they lose connection. But the kids that we have today are not growing up in America. They have American passport, but they bring them back home. That means there is now an American growing up on your street. Almost in every middle-class environment in Nigeria or in Africa, for every 10 kids, probably 7 are holding passports of other nationals. There's a Canadian growing up in every school, in every classroom, in every grade A school in Nigeria. If you have 30 kids in that class, almost 25 of them are carrying foreign passports, and they are Nigerian. So there is a Fatai Ademolekun, there is a Femi Smith, there is an Okechukwu who is now growing up with a Nigerian passport right in your backyard. You see, the implication of that is the competition has changed. You are no longer competing. Your kids are not going to be competing with Nigerians like them in the future. Your kids are going to be competing with Americans and Canadians who grew up at home, who will not go back to Canada. They will keep going for holiday, but they are not going to Canada or to the US or to the UK to live until they are in 18 or 25, when they are going for their masters or for their BSc. And these guys are going to be the new competition of your kids. Now, the advantage they have over the average child is that, one, they know Africa. They didn't leave Africa. They grew up in Africa. They made all their friends in Africa. They took a stake in the system. They understand everything about Africa. Then at 18, they activated their American citizenship, which means 5 things. 1, access to credit. 2, enabling environment. 3, equal opportunities. 4, power of their currency. You see, they have all of this enabling environment. They have all of this advantage surrounding them. And they take this value, activate it, and then they keep moving in and out with the American passport, access to over 168 countries in the world. And then your kids will now have to compete. You see, at a time, we competed with English language. Once you can speak English of any sort, you just get a room in society. You are the ones interpreting for the white man in colonial days. You are the one that is handling everything. You are the one that is a clerk in courts. But after a while, the model of choosing success shifted from English language to a university degree. Once you have a degree, you have a job, people know you, you get everything you want. Then after a while, it moved from degree to 2-1. Once you have 2-1, you get a job, you get respect, you get attention. It shifted from 2-1 to, it never became first class. It moved to foreign degree. If you have a foreign degree of any sort, no matter where you come from, people just respect you, give you room, hire you, give you attention, right? Then it moved from foreign degree to what you can do. It came to what you can do. You know, right now what is reading is what you can do. You see, it's going to move away from what you can do to where you are born. So in the future, you are going to have not just people with foreign degrees, but for people with access, with social security number, access to the United States, who could go in and out when they want, right? So how will your kids compete? It means that we have to raise our game to ensure that our kids are understandable and aligned with a concept I call borderlessness, that help them to be able to show up at the highest level possible, acquire skills today. By this, I'm not making a case for everybody running out or to go and get an American passport. But you see, the whole world is coming to Africa within this time that I'm describing. We have suffered for years from brain drain, but the new word we are going to be dealing with is brain gain. Brain gain. Brain gain, because all the talents of the world, all the resources of the world are coming to Africa to engage, and they are coming to meet 980 million people ready to buy. Africa is, number one, the new market of the world. Number two, we are the ones with the youngest population in the world, getting younger every year. Future energy, future power. The whole world is coming here. When they come, they are not coming to meet everybody. They are coming to exchange with the masters of their game. These masters of their game are people who at base level have the capacity to rove first world economies and do amazing things all over the world, and their passports will make a big difference in that regard. But more than that, what can equate and put your kids at that level is their skills. So the World Economic Forum has come out to list 20 top skills that will be critical for the 2020s, which parents need to focus on. The most important concept today is that in the next 10 years, especially as we move to 2030 and beyond, kids are going to be as solid as their level of education. And when I say education, please, I do not mean academics. I mean the ability of the human spirit to experience its environment, to be able to question it deep enough to find the options that exist in it, and then to know the options to embrace as a matter of supreme importance and urgency. By that standard, even people with PhD are not educated. But when you put your kid in that kind of place where he can question his environment, you give him the freedom to begin to question you. Because if your kids cannot question you, they cannot question society. When we understand all of these dynamics and put them together, combined with the so many insights that other speakers are going to bring in the conference, I'm sure we can begin to understand how to map responsibility for our children today and fix society tomorrow. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, PK. That was an amazing and insightful session. Now, lots of nuggets that I picked from your session. In fact, my notes is filled with insights. I feel a bit grateful because some of the things you shared are some thoughts that we're already processing at the Institute and coming out with some programs and products that can help prepare parents. So it fills me with gratitude and also some sense of courage to keep pushing forward. But then I just wanted to ask you a question. Like, a lot of people are listening to you, and you indeed shared a lot of things, how the shift has gone from discussions around the millennials to Generation Z. And I'm sure many people listening to you have Generation Z in their homes that they are raising. And then you brought up a lot of insights. And I'm thinking, let's get it down to this concept of borderlessness. Now I understand the advantages and everything that you've shared, but perhaps what if a family, a middle-class family is listening to you, and like when you were talking about people having multiple passports, you said some desired to get that leverage, but probably for economic reason or what have you, they couldn't do that. And someone is listening and saying, I want to create the concept of borderlessness in my home, but I don't have the finances or the economics, or even, I don't even know what direction to think. So what tips can you share for a middle-class family that is still based here in Nigeria with only the Nigerian passport, and they want to begin to take baby steps to prepare their children and their family for the concept of borderlessness? What tips will you share with them, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I can simply say that, you see, at the highest level of engagement, right, nature plays very minimal roles. So I mean, just because you are an American citizen, you just have an advantage globally, right? That is a natural empowerment that you have simply because of the nobility of birth. But that is still not enough. I mean, there are so many Nigerians in America who have made a lot of money, who are doing so well, but they are nobodies, right? So so being an American can help your economics, can help you to create that baseline, you know, commitment. You just have an understanding that with this passport, at least there's something called the American dream, that if I have any iota of talent or gifting, the system is designed to find that gifting and to give it expression and to reward it. So that's baseline. What is better than that is skill, right? Right? So the advantage you have, and that is the point of saying that, is not to depress people because their children were not born abroad, but is to show them what is coming at their children and why they no longer have a choice anymore, but to focus on the capacity of their kids. And what do you need to teach your kids to do? Simple things. Number one, you need to teach them to say no. If all you need to know, all you know how to say in this life is yes, you will be, because yes is more powerful than no. Any fool can say yes. You don't need formal training to know how to say yes. But to know how to say no, even for adults, is tough, right? So we need to teach kids to say no. We need to empower kids with the right values so that they can ask why. Not just saying no, but asking why. So they need a fundamental purpose that drives them. And those are levels of moral codes that parents have to live, not talk about. Because you don't tell kids what to do, you show kids what to do. So if parents live by that, so you help kids to say no. You help them to understand their why and to ask themselves why and ask others. That is the ability for honest self-evaluation and the ability for honest environmental questioning, societal questioning, to be able to question your environment, to identify the options that are there. Then on top of that, to make sure that you expose them to the best skills available, right? Give them the freedom, and to help them to know why is your teaching and your modeling. To help them to say no is your demonstration as well. But they must be able to say no to you first, ask you questions. Whatever they cannot rehearse at home with you, they cannot master in society. So you need to grow up to that level of maturity where you give your kids the same environment, because you are going to be merciful with them. Society will be merciless. So if they struggle for your own attention and they cannot be confident in your presence, they will never be able to do that outside. But also, in addition to that, expose them to knowledge. Let them see the world as often as you can. Show them the world. Stay with them. Be with them. Stay on TV with them. Show them documentaries. Let them know what is going on. Don't indulge them, and don't hinder them. Don't say because you suffered, you want your kids to suffer. You have to empower your kids with resources. Expose them to the world. Let them see what is going on. Skills must be acquired. At the end of the day, when they are clear about who they are, when they are clear about how to use their power of consent, and they have the skills to take their stand anywhere. I've told you that the world is coming to Africa to engage. When they come, it is unto your kids they will turn because of the equalizer of skills. The language of the world today is data, is tech, right? And so when you put your kids and give them that exposure, my son attends a school here. I mean, apart from his regular school, there's a place called, it just left my mind. coding. Oh, it just left my mind. But it's a coding school. And his classmates are all young boys, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old. And we have some in Nigeria as well. There's some young boys that are creating coding schools. Our kids should be there. They must be able to speak coding languages, right? So there are skills that are coming to the world today: distraction management, behavior governance. Those are soft skills. We are going to rise above time management because technology is going to eliminate time management curriculum globally. Nobody's going to talk time management again because gadgets will take over that. Our lives will be precision sensitive as we move into the future. So new skills are coming. Parents should get online, buy books, understand what these new kids are, and position their kids for it. That's it. There's no disadvantage in that.
That's so fantastic. Thank you, PK. Thank you so much for the keynote address. Thank you for the many skills. So in summary, what PK has just shared is that you can build that concept of borderless nests in your home, starting first from teaching your children to say no. And I have to be vulnerable here to say that saying no was a skill I learned as an adult. I found myself doing what people wanted me to do. I didn't like to do certain things, but I didn't know how to say it so that I don't offend people. And I'm here, post-40, and I'm learning how to say no. That is something we cannot afford our children to learn in old age, because the world, like PK said, will be merciless and will not be waiting for them to learn the skills. So go teach your children how to say no. Teach them how to question and understand their why. Starting first from understanding the why of your family. At the Institute of Family Systems Engineering, we take families through what we call building their family vision and values. And part of the steps we do in doing that is asking each family to articulate the why for their existence. That is a starting point for your children to now understand their why and be able to question the environment and society. It's interesting that these days we are in conversations, so we're talking about 5G, we're talking about antivirus, we're talking about vaccines, and it's just laughable. The petty things will concern ourselves when the world has moved on to more interesting and, like PK said, precision skills. So thank you, PK. We can't pay you for the wealth of knowledge that you've shared with us. We can only hope that for we and everyone who have listened to you can take away something that they can start to do intentionally for their families and to prepare the Generation X for what the future holds.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have fun.
Yeah. So that was PK with a keynote address, the future of families. And like PK said, the family is an illusion. The family is still in the future. What we have is now, and what we need to do to prepare our families for the future is to be present in our present and do the things we need to do now so that we can live the wholesome life. Lots of nuggets that I picked from that session, and I'm sure that you also picked some for yourself. So please keep tweeting, keep sharing, and remember the hashtag is African Family Life. Even for those who cannot be here with us, your tweets, your message across social media platforms can just be the message they need to prepare their families for the future. And we're continuing our conversation about the future of families, opportunities, or threats. And I have with me amazing personalities that will be joining me for the panel discussion. These are personalities that I'm excited to be with because they have shown their expertise, they have shown their commitment, they have shown their dedication in the different fields that they are in. So permit me to welcome our panelists for this plenary session. And the first person I'll be welcoming would be Pastor Godman Akinlabi. Pastor Godman is the senior pastor of Elevation Church, but beyond that, he's going to be on this panel today as a father who is parenting Generation Zs in his home, people who are referred to as the new digital natives. So Pastor Godman will be here in the capacity of a father, capacity of one who is parenting Generation Z, to share with us some tips that he is and strategies he is adopting in his home to prepare his family and his children for this new normal world. The second person joining us on today's panel discussion will be Woli. Sometimes I'm listening to Woli's comedy and I don't understand Yoruba, but just the facial expression and the excitement with which I see him exhibiting his skills, I say to myself, this guy sure knows his onions and is communicating and building, changing narratives, even with his way and his style of comedy. So we'll be having Woli also joining us on today's panel discussion. So do we have the panelists on standby, please? Okay, so whilst we're waiting for the panel to get ready, I just want you to keep sending in your questions, your comments, your impressions, or whatever is resonating with you with what we have been sharing since we started. In fact, I picked a lot of tips from the last keynote speaker, and I will just keep the conversation going while we're setting up for the panel discussion. So PK in his keynote address also brought to mind the need for the curriculum that we need to teach our children. That the curriculum has to move from monoculture to multicultural, because our children will be facing a world where multicultures will prevail, and it is those who are prepared and are positioned that will take the lead. So I can see Pastor Godman with me. Yes, Pastor Godman, you're welcome to the African Family Life Delegate Conference, and I'm excited to be having this session with you.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you. I had a blast listening to PK, and I want to thank you guys for the great work that you do. And welcome to everyone who has been a part of the conference. And I'm sure today is a great day, and it's a day that all of us will not forget in a hurry as regards our family lives.
Yeah, indeed, it's going to be a great day. And so, Pastor Godman, I'll just take you up on the first question. And I'm glad that you came in on time, even while PK was giving his address. And it's interesting that it was like, did PK peep into our questions, or did we have a peep into PK's keynote address? Because the question I have for you stems from what PK shared and what we had initially agreed as part of the discussion. I understand that you have your father parenting children. And of course, with the age bracket of your children, they fall into this discussion on Generation Z. So I just want to ask you a question. As a father raising Generation Z, what do you perceive as possible threats to the future of the world if parents do not intentionally prepare their children in this bracket to think and to make responsible choices? Do I have to take that again?
Sorry about that, the little network glitch, but I'm sure it's okay now.
Okay, welcome back, Pastor. Pastor Godman, I was saying that as a father who is raising Generation Z, children between the age brackets of 0 to 23, what do you consider as a possible threat to our families if parents do not intentionally prepare these children in this age bracket to think and make responsible choices?
I think the threat is imminent in the sense that we, just like PK earlier on alluded to, we were charged. I mean, the bulk of the parents in the age brackets of maybe 50 and below, who, like you said, in 30 years' time, will be in their late 70s and 80s, are parents who are either parenting millennials or Gen Z. The millennials are already formed, so that ship has sailed. We can't be discussing them here as such, because whatever you have not done with them before now, you've missed the opportunity. But with the Gen Z, we still have a little bit of window. I have two teenagers, a 13 going on 14 and a 15 going on 16. And I see from time to time that there's a lot of threat in us allowing certain gaps to exist. And that is the threat of them not being prepared to face their world or not being ready to lead. Every generation must be an improvement on the previous. So if we want a better world, we need better leaders. And whatever we're not able to do in our generation, we need to raise a generation of people who have a stronger capacity, who can facilitate change at the speed of light faster than what we're able to handle. We're struggling with change right now. We're struggling with disruption. That's what is happening with this COVID-19 stuff, and it's exposing lack of leadership, lack of planning, lack of cohesion in politics and commerce and all that. Our world is not going to get better in terms of things to grapple with. If I speak as a pastor, allow me to just wear the hat of a pastor just for a minute.
It's okay.
Yeah. Part of what Jesus said was that in the last days, perilous times shall come, all that and all that. Like COVID-19 is like one of the waves. It's not really bringing us to the end time, but there are things that will happen that will make you know that, oh, this is the kind of time we're living in. It's like when you look at the beach, you see waves cascading, and after a while, it becomes a real big stuff that can sweep something away. But this is just one wave that's just coming, and look at how it has shaken our world, and everything rises and falls on leadership. And if, as at now, this is where we are, then what will happen in 20 or 30 years' time? Because there's no promise that there won't be another COVID. So
yeah,
the threat is that the people that will entrust our world into their hands, when we will not have any energy to do much again, what are we expecting them to be able to do? Are they prepared for it? So if I can take that a little further, I'll say, well, you haven't asked me the question, but there are fundamental ways or fundamental things that we need to start to look at, both from the generic point of view and from the faith point of view. Truth is that it's the spirit of a man that will sustain him in trouble. That's what the scripture says. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity. So the spirit that we're left undeveloped, the mind that we're left to decay, and the emotions that we left to itself will yield a useless generation that that cannot withstand pressure or take responsibility. And God will definitely hold us responsible for that. So we need to do something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. So I hear you say that everything rises and falls on leadership, and I totally agree with you how the COVID disruptions has actually exposed the kind of leadership, the kind of planning, and the kind of systems that we have in our families. And the question is, if we are seeing all of this, and we want to prepare our Generation Z for a better world, I like how you said that we need to nurture the mind, the body, and the spirit of our families and our children. So I want to ask you a question. As parents now, like already, I've gotten a lot of calls from parents who are overwhelmed, particularly with having to work from home, with having to deal with their children with the remote learning. Like, we're having calls of parents overwhelmed and coming down with anxiety, with panic and the likes. And here again, we're saying, you know what? You may have been preparing your children for a world that no longer exists. We're calling them to do more. With the one they're doing, they're exhausted. So what tips do you have for parents, how they can optimize their well-being, even with keeping their focus on preparing their children for the future?
I think, in my opinion, it's about learning to live better and, delegating responsibilities, giving to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and to God what belongs to God. Like like Jesus, advised us, which is to be able to say, this is how how things should run at this time. That we are in a time where each parent must apportion enough time to what the things that they have to do with their kids, how they keep working from home. Let me say this: some things they come as a disruption, but after weeks and months, you still remain in the state of being disrupted. Maybe you're not fit initially to live in a changing world. How do I mean? I've been teaching something recently where I said, when COVID started, all of us moved into the zone of fear and panic because we've not lived with this before. Some of us are hearing about social distancing for the first time. Words have come to stay with us: quarantine, lockdown, social distancing, all these things. These are things that people were not used to before now. I mean, Ebola gave us a bit of it, but it wasn't like this. Now, after 2 or 3 weeks, we were supposed to get used to certain things and put our lives on a different, plane, a different trajectory, and understand that change is the only thing that is permanent in this world. So if at this time, somebody is already not pulling his or her weight with being able to say, you know what, this is number of hours I need to be able to pull my weight at our office work. This is how my house, I'm in my study right now during this. My kids are, downstairs in the living room in school as I speak right now. They are fully in school. My wife is in another webinar, in another room there, just doing our own stuff. So what I'm saying is that notwithstanding the kind of space and all that we have, we need to move from that zone of fear and anxiety and panicking to the zone of learning. What do we need to learn? Because the moment you start to learn, you can start to change and adapt. So adaptation emotionally and physically is very important at this time. And if we stay in that place of panic, we don't know what is happening. I don't know how to take care of my children. I don't know how to still pull my weight at work. I don't know how to think. I don't know how I'm still going to pray or spend time with God in the midst of all this. I don't know, all that keeps us in that zone of just not learning the things that we need to learn. Some people think, we're just shut down for a few weeks and then we open back to our real life or normal life. What about if normal has disappeared? There could be something better than normal. And that's what a lot of us want to get used to now. Is there something better than normal? Is there something better than having to wake up at 5 a.m. and dash to work and be there till 7 p.m. and not see your children? And now your kids are at home. They're doing their own stuff. You're doing your own stuff. You're trying to survive. But that is, the way it's unraveling, it's getting people on the edge. Could it be better than our normal life that we have been used to before now? Time will tell, but we need to be willing to adapt. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Pastor Godman. And to just reiterate some of the great tips that you shared with us, you brought to our consciousness the fact that the era that we are in is something new. None of us has ever been in a pandemic that kept us locked in. And so there was need for us to show ourselves self-compassion and not take it too hard or beat ourselves up. So show yourself self-compassion whilst you're learning the ropes. It's important that you do not, you give yourself some time to normalize. And as you're doing that, you move from the fear and panic zone towards a faith-based solution-focused zone. And what that will entail is that you give yourself to learning. Be open, be honest with yourself. What are the things I need to learn? What are the soft skills? What are the behavioral skills? What are the things that I need to learn to keep myself going and my family going, and be open to learning them? Another tip from Pastor Godman's session was that he talked about the power of adaptation. Now with the disruptions that we're facing, it is the adaptable, it is the flexible that will own the system. And so we need to be adaptable, ready for change. And in addition to what Pastor Godman said, to help us navigate the changes that the new normal is bringing for our families, it will be nice for us to hold occasional family meetings with our family members where we co-create our routines and rituals. Because one of the things that can help us deal with the fear and panic at a time like this is to give meaning and purpose to our days. And when we co-create rituals and routines with our family members, we not only are making it easier for our brains to adapt to the change, but we're also, remember, creating that concept of borderlessness, where we're growing our children's autonomy to take responsibility for their lives and the things they want to engage in. So thank you. We're still continuing the African Family Life Delegate Conference. And that was just a discussion with Pastor Godman Akinlabi. Next, we're moving on to Woli. Let's have some discussion with Woli representing the entertainment sphere. While you're waiting for the... Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, well done, ma. Good.
Oh, well, it's
Good
fine.
afternoon.
And how have you been?
Oh, I've been good. I've been fine. I've been doing awesome and great.
Oh, you're amazing. I'm sure you've been catching your phone and making the people around you laugh.
Yeah, exactly. I've been doing that to make sure everything.
Okay, that is fantastic. I was saying before you came on that when I'm watching your jokes, I don't understand Yoruba, but just looking at your mannerisms and the people around giggling and falling over themselves, I say to myself, this is one funny guy who is taking his space and is helping to change narratives. So congratulations for all you do for the entertainment world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. And big thank you to the host of this event for counting me worthy to be here. I do not take this for granted. Thank you, Chris. God bless.
You are welcome. So we just want to hear from you as one of the drivers, the entertainment world. We see the entertainment industry as one of the drivers of change in the society, particularly as it affects families. So we want to hear from you. Hold on. Okay. We want to hear from you. What do you see as the role of effective family upbringing in the values that a celebrity propagates?
Okay, before I proceed also, I need to greet my friend, a man I love and respect so much, Pastor Godman Akinlabi. We're together in his church. I love him so much, very respectful, down to earth. I saw one of my friends to sharing of PK, great minds here, and I do not take this for granted. So I'm going to come from this point, and that's because we're talking about the family of the future of the family, the old and the new. And I'll be linking it down to also what we should anticipate to what is going all over the world. Firstly, before I talk, permit me to say this, please. Everything I'm going to say on this platform, because it's family and I'm a single person. So I won't be speaking much from experience. I'll be speaking from revelation. So and that's very important. It's the truth. So so that anybody that is listening say, "Oh, Barole is single," and all of that. God is a God of light, reveal Himself to whichever way He wants to do it, and in some aspects when it comes to family. So I need to clarify that first of all. I'm a very single person. If we get into that one. So based on the family values and entertainment, the first point I want to say is the fact that I believe, because you're coming from a celebrity angle, man, that every father, every mother is a celebrity to their children. That's the truth. Every father, every mother, a father is a leader in the home. A father is the when you talk about the father, the husbandman, the way Christ has structured it, you are the leader, you are the first prophet, you are the first pastor, you are the first comedian, you are the first musician. So the value comes from you. Now, connecting into the entertainment industry, and this is what I say, Mark. See, the only way you can substitute what is not wrong, what is wrong, is to put what is right there. That's the truth. From the creation of the world, the devil brought Jesus to a particular place and said, "Look, guy, what do you want here? We rule here. So there can be a stop to some kind of music. No, you can't. They can't stop unless we want to deceive ourselves. There can't be a stop to some kind of movies. But there can be injection into the entertainment space. There can be movies, there can be creatives that will change family patterns through all of those things. So are there going to be stop of bad music? No, it can't. It's been before. It's been. But can we have good films? Yes. Let me give an example. A very popular woman of God I so much respect from Nigeria, Sinach, sang a song, listen now, and do you know that this song is #1 in US Billboard? That's it. So the cure to what is counterfeit is what is original. The cure to that, okay, let me give an example, another example. Okay, we're talking about movies. We know people that their life has changed and transformed by watching Passion of Christ. That's a Christian, God-centered movie directed by Mel Gibson. So I think it is a call on anybody in any sphere beyond entertainment to know that this is the time to put in those content that will drive value. That's all. You can't stop people not to misbehave, but you can raise an altar that this is what you should follow. That's the truth. Let me give you an example, and this is very practical. One day, Pastor Godman Kinabi called me for his program on his live chat on Elevation Church. By the special grace of God, God had helped me to give me a level of influence in entertainment space, not only in Nigeria, all over the globe, because I have. And it was easy for Pastor Godman to call me. Listen, my followership includes Christian and Muslims, because what drives it primarily is comedy. Now, Pastor Godman is a friend to me, is a pastor to me, same with Pastor DNE. So what does Pastor Godman need? To just come here, really, let's do something. I will bring those crowds there. They will hear what Pastor Godman has to say. So I think we are getting to a point where we Christians, people in different spaces of life, not only in entertainment, you're a fashion designer, you're a comedian. We need to start raising giants for God in those industries. That is it. That is it. In the circular space, in the marketplace. That people say, okay, when we want something clean, something hilarious, well, I'm a comedian. I crack jokes. That's what I do. People laugh. Or Christian laughs. Non-Christian laughs. The general laughs. So I think we are getting to that place where the remedy now, because the language of the world is media. I won't lie to you. The language of the world is entertainment. So imagine we're having a TV show. Some people stood up one day and said they are doing, Big Brother. Another person can come with a creative team. It might not even sound too spiritual. It might be a TV show on business. And the host of someone is someone that is inclined to God. Sublime. Christ is entering. I told somebody, and this is where I'm going to crown this before I proceed. I told somebody, I said this period is I'm seeing it, what God showed me is the fact that we are now all at the palace of Pharaoh. That's what God showed me. And everybody is dropping their rod and is turning to snake. What is our rod? Influence. Some people, when they drop their rod, what becomes it is earthworm. Some people, when they drop their rod, what comes out is a big snake. Moses did not know what he carried was a snake until God said, drop it. So I think we have gotten to the place of influence now. It's a dexterity of power, where even the secular world and the entertainment world know. Because, Christians love to shy away from this part. That, okay, so entertainment belongs to some people. Politics, it belongs to some people. Football belongs to some people. This one, no. We are getting to that part where we need to display the dexterity of God in the space of entertainment and in different space. So that's my meditation.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And then I hear a lot of things coming up from what you have shared. But interestingly, you talked about influence, all of us using our influence in the different places that we have been called. And particularly interesting how, you know, the way to deal with bad content, the way to deal with supposedly non-family friendly content is to inject the entertainment space with family friendly content, family focused content that will stir the minds of people towards the values and the ideals of family life. And that is amazing. And you're doing an amazing work. And I liked the collaboration that you brought with Pastor Godman, and how when different spheres of society collaborate together, we can each promote the ideals that we're talking about. So I just want to bring your mind to something and to check how it plays out with you and how it resonates with you. So you talked about doing collaborations and then coming up with content that are family friendly. And for us at the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, we recently are talking about creating the different arms of the family life space, because interestingly, we have researched all over Africa and even around the world, the different arms that make for a robust family life industry seem to be absent. And then we're thinking of collaborating with artists, with people in the entertainment world and all of that. So how do you see the place of content producers in entertainment world taking like focused family systems training that can help them understand what is happening in the family? I know that with experience, we're seeing what is happening, but sometimes in creating the content, you need to understand the dynamics and the approach of helping families. So what do you see about us deciding to do a collaboration or say, hey, Woli, get in all your friends from the entertainment world to take the family systems engineering certification course so that you can understand the tools you can use in crafting your entertainment? Would that be a welcome collaboration? And what do you think about it?
You see, the thing about it is, see, what people don't know, the host of this show is my coach, it's my man, it's my friend. Yeah, I don't know how much I spend my internet just to be on this show, and that's the truth. Exactly. So the thing about it is this, and I love what you just asked. I'm not just for praise for I'm for the body of Christ. That's the truth about me. This Pastor Godman, if PK is here, is listening to me. We've done a lot of stuff together. You see, we've gotten to a place, madam. Let me practically say this. I'm a real person. They know me. I'm a realist. I'm not a religious person. I'm a real guy. See, I think we've gotten to that level where we need to collaborate. That's the word. That is it now. Look at what we are talking about. Look now. People can't go to church. People are in their home. And the thing that can be done now is to communicate to your church members online, or else you will lose them. That's the truth, because they'll be distracted with something else. That is factual. And look at what pastors are doing. Doing IG Live. And I love the fact that some men of God are even entering spaces that doesn't seem religious. That is it. The Bible did not say go into the church and shine. No, it's the world. Go into the world. We are the light of the world, not the light of the church. We are the light in the entertainment industry. We are the light in the football sector. So when it comes to content creation, it's linked to value. Why? Our platform, our followership ultimately is for God. Ultimately. Why are people following? It's for the kingdom purpose. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and every other thing shall follow. But your ministry might be the church, and Rollis own might be in the entertainment industry. So when there is a collaboration, there is a spark. Madam, Act of Apostles chapter 1. It was not one that was there in the upper room. Collection of disciples, there was a spark. Not one person. So when there is an outbreak of revival, it's a collection of fire coming together to cause a spark. The Bible says one will chase 1,000. Look at what 2 we chase. Now look at what 3 we chase. I had the singular honor. Let me share this testimony with you. I brought one of my sweetest mom on earth that God has blessed with me, Pastor Mrs. Nikki Adeyemi. I spoke to her. I have a good relationship with her. So I brought him for my IG live show. So I told mommy, and she said, so she came. What did we talk about? She said, she now called me, you know that me, I'm pastor wife. Will I say Jesus? I say, mommy, if you don't say Jesus, I will have issue with you. If you not say Jesus on my page, on my own Instagram handle, when it's not that I borrowed it, it's my you can't say Jesus where. When they say that you censor it, I say fire down. When mommy got there, we spoke about pain, just normal thing. Oh Lord God. Mommy sent message to me again. And when she sent this message to me, she said her PA told her that they had records of people giving their life to Christ on a show like this. Muslims. Pastor Biodun Idowu came on my IG live. The same thing. Pastor Biodun just spoke about depression. A Muslim doesn't even do, but said, sir, where can I get your takes? Like I said, we are now at the palace of the king. See, man, let me love, because I know people are coming. Let me just say this. See, and this is very crucial. A scenario happened in the scripture. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He did not remember his dream. He could not interpret. So he called in, all those people that assume wise men. Two, they said, number one, we don't know your dream, sir. Number two, we can't interpret. So Nebuchadnezzar said, so why are you called wise men? So you cannot, I will destroy all of you. So that was a very cool, quiet, calm man. His name is Daniel. He went to meet the king because they're going to kill Daniel too, So he said, sir, don't worry. The man has made a statement. Listen, he said, this dream interpretation is not for men, it's for God. And the Bible says, yeah, gods. What I read in my scripture. It's for God. So Daniel went to meet the king. And God spoke to God. Daniel said, God, you are the God of secrets. Sorry, that's Yoruba. I'm very sorry. I'm a deep Yoruba person. Meaning secret. And God revealed that to him. What does that tell me? This is a time where we need the wisdom of the new. Things have changed, madam. If pastor like it, believe it or not, it has changed. CEO, if you like, believe it or not, it has changed. Parents, believe it or not, it has changed. So we need the wisdom of the new. And one of the wisdom of the new is collaboration. And that's why you're coming here. I appreciate you bringing.
Thank you so much. I like that. The wisdom of the new is collaboration and synergy. Yes. So I'm looking forward to when I'll be on your live show to talk about building family systems. And now that you're a member, of the family, we look forward to more collaborations with the Institute where we can bring people that are qualified to talk about salient issues and things that people need. And I like that you said entertainment is where it is happening, because through entertainment, you can bypass conscious resistance. People are tired of hearing too much talk. But when it's in an entertainment form, they are relaxed, their guards are down, and they can get the message. So I wish I can spend more time with you, but then we have to call it a day. So Pastor Godman Akilabi, I'm excited, and thank you for honoring our invitation, even with the disruptions that you have to face, but you still made it here. And Woli, thank you for all you did to ensure that your internet was working and showing up for us. As we continue to do this, Africa will get better through effective family systems. So on behalf of the Institute, I want to say thank you for honoring our invitation and continue to do the good work you're doing in your respective fields.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so
thank you, everybody. God bless you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is still the African Family Life Delegate Conference, and we're marking down to the end of the morning session. We'll just take a pause here to take some questions. So if you've been sending your questions, please, team, can you scroll the questions so I can attempt some of the questions? the reactions, the comments, and the questions that the viewers are sending in. I recognize that this conference is being viewed all over the world, in America, in Canada, in Nigeria, all across the globe, and we're excited to be doing this with you. So let's have the questions and the comments coming in. Should I continue with Pastor Godman because I'm enjoying their face? So if we don't have any questions coming in, okay, read the comments as well. All right. Okay, so some comments coming in. Nena Ben Ekechuku says, thank you to our esteemed panelists. Loaded session it was. Yes, indeed, it was a loaded question. I have Oluwatos saying, amazing. Thanks, Arole and Miss My Oga, Pastor Godman. Pastor Godman, your people are sending you accolades and thanking you for making such a great contribution to the conference. Ofonime Basi says, thank you for a great time. We still have more people sending in their thanks. Mojishola is saying thank you, Oli and Pastor Godman. Please keep the comments and questions coming in. Whilst we're waiting for more questions, and I still have the honor of having the both of you here, I would direct a question to Pastor Godman while we're waiting. Okay, so I have a question. Someone just sent in a question, and it's a very interesting one. And so Arole was talking, he talks about collaboration and synergy, and that is how we can inject into our society the influence we have. And someone sent a question, and Pastor Godman, the question is directed to you. The person is asking, please, Pastor Godman, as a pastor, would you be willing to volunteer your media equipment to collaborate with people to propagate this message to families? I guess, I don't know if that is putting you on the spot, but that's the question that just came in.
That's an interesting one. Truth is that anything that is not contrary to what we believe, and what part of what we believe very strongly is that family life, parenting, great marriages are the things that will move our world forward. Like we said earlier on, the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Like PK said, there's really no future because you can't hold the future. What you have is today. So whatever we can do today to create the future that we want, we're always willing, to collaborate to be able to make that happen, especially if it has to do with the children, because there are values that we need to put in the hands of those children. It's foolishness on our part to think that the only medium of exchange for the value or impartation of that value is church service or only religious stuff. There are so many medium of exchange right now where we can impact the value, the right value on the next generation. And a huge part of it, like we said earlier, is media and entertainment and all kinds of content, even courses and all kinds of things, music, all sorts. And as a church, we are always open to engaging the different ways by which our aims and objectives can be achieved. And it's a case of, if your bullet fits my gun, I shoot it. So if you bring something that fits what I want to do, why not? We collaborate and get it done. Right.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Pastor Godman, because the person who sent in the question added a rejoinder to it. It says, particularly for people who want to shoot content, they want to shoot family-friendly content, but they don't have the money to hire sophisticated media equipment. And they're looking at, oh, can I partner with this church that has the media equipment? I have the content, but I don't have money to hire. Can they do the collaboration? That's what the person is saying. And from your response, is it safe for me to say it's something you're welcome to discussing?
Yeah, it's something that we're open to. Like I said, I repeat again, it's a case of, if your bullet fits my gun, we can shoot it together. So if I have a gun, I don't have a bullet, and you have a bullet, and it fits my gun, we all just collaborate. So far we can, whatever we're aiming at, rabbits or bushmeat, so far we can get it down together, and then we can share it. What's the point in
Fantastic.
having a gun that doesn't have a bullet? If you have the bullet, then we'll get it done together. So it's just to the back end, making it workable. That's the most important thing. But so far our aims and objectives are aligned, then we're good.
Okay, so you heard it first at the African Family Life Delegate Conference from Pastor Godman, that if you have a bullet and they have a gun, if your values align, is open to collaboration to bring content that will influence the direction of the conversation and the narratives about family life. So, Arole, this question is for you. Someone says, as a faith-based entertainer, what challenges have you faced in your industry? We can't hear you, please. Are you muted? Okay, we will wait till we're able to reconnect Mr. Role's connection, because we can't hear you right now. So I'm going to take the next question, Pastor Godman. I will direct the next question to you while we're waiting for Woli to for his connection to get steady again. So there's a question here, and the question says, how can religious bodies train professional counselors to meet the gaps in the industry, since most families either go to a church or a mosque? Our religious bodies form the first responders to most of family life issues. And so they come there with their needs. Now someone is asking a question, how can religious bodies train professional counselors to meet the gaps in the industry? I think you're the best person to take this question, because I know that at the Institute of Family Systems and Family Engineering and Development, we have collaborated with your faith-based organization to train some professionals. So what do you think the religious bodies can do to bridge that gap and train more professionals?
Thank you very much. I think it still boils down to the question of collaboration. A lot of the time, what we're dealing with is trust. Trust in the efficacy of the material or the substance with which people are going to be trained. So if we can take away the issue of trust, if the burden of proof is on every provider of a body of knowledge to show that this works, especially when it's been proven over a period of time, and it works irrespective of location or religious affiliation. When we deal with issues of life, everybody has emotional issues to deal with. In medicine, everybody has their body or their physiology to deal with. So an analgesic like maybe Panadol or something, it doesn't work only for Christian or Muslim. It works for everybody. So if we can get that question of the efficacy of our value proposition straightened out, and we present what we have in such a way that, notwithstanding my religious affiliation or background, I know this is something that works. Just like you don't query a trained therapist, if I can put it that way, who he or she practices. People come to see the person, whether they're Muslim or Christian or Hindus or traditional religious worshippers or whatever. So it's the same thing. The moment we can put anything that can make anyone not want to trust what we're offering away from it, then the rest is a question of wisdom. I want our counselors to be able to do a good job and offer professional counseling and help, which is what we stand for as an organization. So I know as an organization, we may not be able to develop all the content that we need to be able to keep training our people. So when we affiliate with your institution and any other institution, it's just wisdom for us to be able to do that, so that we can get from outside the needs that we we have. And it's something I would be saying to anybody who heads a religious organization like I do, pastor, imam, please, let's look into what the institution has and other institutions as well. The moment we know that this can meet the need that we have, our world is changing very fast. People are going through a lot in their family life, and the family is the bedrock, is the foundation. When we get it wrong there, we've gotten it wrong. Yeah, it's better to set our priorities right from the beginning than to be looking for palliatives in the future. A child that will refuse to train today will give us problem in the future. So let's get the curriculum, let's get everything. If we need to train people directly, with you, we do that. If we need to have an implant experience, we do that. Because some organizations also will say, we don't want our people to go to some place because we don't know what that. Bring them to your place. Have an implant program with them. You can supervise, you can see everything. If after the first day you feel that this thing is against your tenants, then you can have a discussion back end and say, look, how can you tone this thing down? Maybe it's looking like it has more religious affiliation, or it's too academic, or whatever. People have a way of analyzing things, but I'm saying that let's take the issue of trust and put it on the table first and establish the trust. And then after that, we can do anything together. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So you hear it from Pastor Godman Akinlabi himself. He's saying that when the body of knowledge can stand the universality test, such that it can be used across locations, across tribes, and that, and then the efficacy of the substance of the materials is not in doubt, then there are ways to go around it. Such religious bodies can either send their counselors for training or request for an in-house experience where they can also check if the material works with their values and their systems. And really, when those tools are shared, it's not for you to take it hook, line, and sinker. It's for you to adapt it to the values and the dogmas of your organization. So there's room for collaborations, for training. And like I said, Pastor Gottman, as the senior pastor of the Elevation Church, has shown face in training his counselors to be professionals and give the help that the congregation needs. So thank you, sir, for being a pace setter in that regard. So, Oga,
thank you.
The next question is for you. You've been trying to run away from this, my question, but you will not run away. So somebody is asking, I can hear you still. No, I can't. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left to go. So I guess we'll just take our reflections. It's unfortunate we can't hear Arole. I would have loved to hear the impact his family and his upbringing has made to the man he has become today. Okay, so please, can you talk? Let's know if we can hear you now. The technical team says you should speak. Yeah? We can hear. Pastor Godman, can you?
With the system. I can't hear him. It has to do with his system.
Yeah.
It may not have been muted, but maybe it needed
the connection
an help or something. Yeah, it does happen once in a while like that.
So, Pastor Godman, we have 2 minutes to go. So, what will be your last word to everyone who is participating in this African Family Life Delegate Conference? What will your last word be?
I think my final word for everyone will be that notwithstanding your religious affiliation or whatever, you have a responsibility to lay a solid foundation for your family, and you need to put your family in the right stead to be able to do that effectively and get the right knowledge that is needful. As a Christian, for instance, and as a pastor, one of the questions that are always on my mind that I wish every parent, notwithstanding their religious persuasion, will be willing to get their children to be grounded in is: one, does God exist? What is the character and nature of God? Because we have to ask that question. Plus, does God exist? If not, we'll just be religious. What is the character and nature of God? How and why was the world created? Why? Why? How and why was the world created? What is the nature and purpose of humanity? What happens after we die on earth? What spiritual authorities exist, or what is authority? These are grounding questions that if we, based on your religious persuasion, because I believe that notwithstanding different religious persuasions, they're not necessarily destructive. So, but grounding our children, that's where I'm going. What is authority? What is truth? We know that now we're in the era of post-truth or relative truth and whatever. But what is truth? How can we lay the right foundation for our children in all this space? I believe giving us the right framework to be able to do that effectively is what this institute, especially the African Family Life Delegate Conference, is all about, so that we're talking from a standpoint of knowledge, of useful knowledge, of proven truth and principles. And it's our responsibility as parents to be able to build that foundation for our kids. So I want to encourage you to come back for the second session. I know there are great speakers who are still going to speak. I want to encourage you also to keep embracing the resources from this conference and from the Institute, because I know they're based on certain principles, and anything that is established on principles will last. So let's not take this, like we're doing something, like we're cooking food. No, we're not cooking food, we're raising destinies. Yeah. But even when you want to cook food, good food, you need the recipe. You need to be able to add the right ingredients at the right time, so that it will taste. If it's Nigerian jollof rice, it will not taste like Ghanaian jollof rice if you cook it well. You understand what I'm saying? So life is principle-based. Parents embrace the right principles, answer the right questions for your children. I'll sign out on that.
Thank you, Pastor Godman. Like he said, we're raising destinies, and we're past the hour of 1 p.m. But then to wrap up this morning's session, we have the founder of the Institute of Family Engineering and Development and the premier trainer of Family Systems Engineering, the convener of this conference, Mr. Praise Fowowe, standing by to give us the closing remarks, so to say.
Okay, thank you, everyone. It's such an awesome privilege for me to be here once again. Thank you, Wole Arole. He calls himself my prophet. It's so unfortunate that the network is not allowing us to hear you clearly. I want to thank Pastor Godman, who is my boss, for amazing session. Thank you, PK, for, PK's time, wherever he is, it was about 6 a.m. or so. I know he slept very late, but to still be able to make this conference is an awesome privilege. I want to thank everyone who has joined us, today. This is just the first session. We're going to go into a recess, and we'll be back at 4 p.m. for the second session, when we welcome Dr. Margaret Machera from the Tennessee State University. Auntie Adesuwa Oyenokwe, I'll be also on that panel, and then Julie Mobo. You don't want to miss that 4 p.m. session. Please use your stream, and please tell everyone to join us then, because we're talking about the future of the family. Trust me, COVID will come, COVID will go, family is going to remain, but the structure of the family is what we have to be worried about. We are dealing with Generation Z, and if you understand Generation Z, our role is to guide them, right, so that they don't move to another extreme of you, then they are going to be messed up by the society. So our family is the most important nation on earth. Our family is the production factory of the society. This Generation Z did not fall from heaven. We produce them, right? We are the ones, custodians, the seed handlers. And I believe that we need to do what we need to do. It's not just about hearing all we have heard about this conference. It's about doing. That's why I love the way Pastor Godman leads his children. He has two Gen Z, and I love the way he relates with them. You must give expression to your children, let them express their truth, then you can balance their truth. Okay, you cannot use the 18th century curriculum to raise a Gen Z. It's going to backfire. I believe Africa will rise. I believe that we have something to teach the world. I believe that even as we try to organize the family life structure in Africa, I mean, I've gone around the world, I realize that it's the same challenge everyone has. That's the only unstructured system in every governance system across the globe, right? But that's where everyone came out from. If you check government parastatals, there is no ministry for family affairs. And that should shock everyone, you know, because we have the life wire of every society, yet we are not regulated, we are not organized. I believe we've started something great, and I believe together we can organize the future of family. One thing Africa must move into, which I would have said in my opening remark, is we now must move into a system-based family structure, no longer emotions-based. The emotion of the father, one man, cannot define the lifestyle of every other person. No, we need to listen, and every head of the family must realize that the head is not the richest, is not the smartest. The head of the family is to create an enabling environment where the potential of everyone can find expression. So going forward, you cannot be a husband when you are dealing with insecurity, when you see have low self-esteem. That's not going to work. You need to settle down and spot the talent within your family, create an enabling environment, and allow expression. In fact, the person that may bail your family out post-COVID may be your child, maybe that talent in him, but you must be able to groom it to expression. So let's be open-minded. Let's trash a part of our culture that has not served us, the one that is sabotaging us, that makes us as father look like Amadioa, look like Shango or Ogun. Let's trash them and let's uphold what can work, servant leadership, right? And understand that every other person in our family is not given for decoration. They are also part of our team, and we all must collaborate to create, to move from family to a tribe, because the nation Israel was somebody's family. Your family may just be the new nation that will bail our world out from the crisis that we found ourselves. Society is yearning for a new order of people, and we can raise them from our family, starting from Africa. It's Ubuntu, like we say at the Institute. I am because you are. There is no me without you. Whatever I do against you, I do against myself. Thank you very much, Tina. Thank you, Pastor Godman. Thank you, Arole. And thank you, PK. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back at 4 p.m.
And yes, that was the founder of the Institute of Family Engineering and Development, the conveners of this African Family Life Delegate Conference. Thank you, PF, for that wonderful closing remark. And so we come to the end of the morning session. The evening session will start at 4 p.m. Please, if you learned anything,
So have a wonderful day, everyone, and see you again in the evening session. Keep practicing what you learned. Keep sharing your tips. Remember to use the hashtag African Family Life and share this experience with everyone. Let's get more people joining us for the evening session. It's the International Day of the Family, and the theme is the future of the family. So what would you do with your family today? Make today memorable, make today count, and ensure that you create pleasant memories with your family. I'm signing out as your host on the morning session, Dimma Wobi, and it's been a pleasure being with you all. Have a fantastic day, and remember, keep washing your hands.
to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind one nation